crumbled around me, and I was in real down depths of like I hit the lowest that probably I've ever felt. Um, and but I was invited to then quickly after like join the cast of Thriller Live, this Michael Jackson musical in London. So within a few weeks of all my life turning to poo,
Mm.
I took this contract and went over to London. I thought I'd never come back to New York. I moved to London, um, and that's when I had started having vocal problems. Like I
Mm.
lost my voice. It was all emotional stress. Like it was embarrassing. Like I was doing this Michael Jackson show. It was all really high, but I had no high register. It completely
Oh,
left me.
wow.
And I actually had to leave at interval of my opening night.
Mm.
Yeah, dude. It was really crazy.
Mm.
I was just an emotional wreck. And it's amazing how your voice is such a window to your soul in so many ways. They say the eye is a window to the soul, but I believe really it's the doors. The voice, is the window or the voice of your soul. It's a channeling of what's going on in there,
Mm.
and I was messed up. So nothing was coming out right, and I thought I was going to give. At that point, I thought I was going to give up singing forever. Um,
I,
but hey, life goes on. I learned how to get over that. I learned how to get my voice back. It was not a good contract I did with Thriller Live that time. For the 6 months I was in London, but eventually I got my voice back and got back into theater. Did a European world tour of We Will Rock You, arena tour, and shortly after, and I got my mojo back. After that, I got, I'm in a new relationship now. I'm in love, and it's all fine and great. So life goes on, and it makes me realize that in the darkest depths of my depression, um, thank God that I just had some kind of will to just keep on going, or
mm.
maybe I was too stubborn to lay low. I say,
Mm.
no, you will not defeat me. You will not take my voice. You took everything away from me, but you are not going to take my voice away. You're not going to do that. And I was just stubborn, and eventually, I was able to make something of it, and here I am. I'm still standing. Better than I ever did.
Another one of my favorites, definitely.
There we go.
Great. Yeah, I think we're made to be uncomfortable. It seems kind of silly, but thinking back, and don't want to go off track, but parents obviously want the best for their kids, but in some ways they do a disservice if they do too much for them.
Yeah,
They have to learn on their own. They have to make their own mistakes. It seems kind of strange, but
yeah.
you got to go through your peaks and valleys. You won't grow.
That's the thing. It's like, there's a lot to be said for, wanting to have, wanting to be fair and give everybody a trophy in the team. But
Yeah.
also, there's a lot more to be said to like, hey, you know what? That's good and be encouraging. But at the same point, there's always room for improvement. And
Mm.
I think, a parent can probably do a kid disservice if they're too congratulatory without being, and too model coddling, wrap them in cotton balls without thinking, oh, I don't want them to feel any rejection in life. Because rejection, I'm sorry to say, is a part of the industry.
Yep.
It is as part of the industry as jubilation, as waking up, as sure as taxes and death. You
Mm.
will have rejection in the entertainment business, and that is something that it's a hard lesson to learn unless you are taught from an early age. Just don't take it personally. That it's going to happen. It doesn't mean you're bad. Doesn't mean you screwed up. It may mean that you need to work a little bit harder, or it just means that you weren't right for that job. Either way, you just have to keep going. You have to keep on learning. You have to keep on improving. Because I am always trying to improve my craft. I'm always learning from people. I performed on stage tonight with three different singer-songwriters, female songwriters from Australia, and I learned from every single one of like how to be a better performer, how to not be so within yourself, at the same time have faith in yourself. And I was watching these ladies on stage thinking, wow, damn, I wish I had done that, or I wish I could
Mm.
do more of that. And I'm thinking, that's great. I need to channel more of that. You
Mm.
have to continue learning. I think that's the art. Art never stops. There's no perfect art. It's always a sense of improving and always trying to be better and better and grow. And I think that's what makes it so fabulous, that we're always in a sense of perpetual motion. The day I stop learning is the day I die.
Very true. It says it right there. So you are working continually. I mean, you just look at your website. You've got stuff going a lot. You've even done cruise ships too. That's good.
Well, this is the thing, dude. It's like, I know New York's an expensive city to live, but at the same time, you've always got to be proactive as well with finding work, creating something new. Always, I think it's a thing about you start with something that may not be a money earner or may not something be huge, but it's something creative. And when you say creative, the whole word is, it drives from to create, to make something out of nothing. And that really is when you're being creative. Things happen really from out of the blue. You start on one project and it leads to something else, or someone else hears about it and they suggest you for something else. It's a very, very tangled web that we weave, but you can't be on this tangled web. You can't even start unless you yourself step off the nest, or you yourself put a little bit of bits and pieces here and there that will lead you to somewhere else. And I really try to be as creative as possible. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes you wake up and you go, oh God, I'm tired of hustling today. I just want somebody to pay me for singing a song. Can somebody tell me what to do? I just want to know that at 3 p.m. I got to be in the theater, and then 5 I do the show, and then I'm done. But no, sometimes it's like, no, it's not like that. Sometimes you wake up, you got to answer emails, you got to edit videos, you got to work on your show reel, you got to work on some songs, you got to put your book together, you have to learn new stuff, you got to learn new scripts. There's a show that's coming up, you have to audition for something else, there's other auditions. It's always something going on, and I get intoxicated by that. Sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming, but I get excited about, like, always in the middle of 5 different projects. Some of them are working, some of them are paying. A lot of them are not, but a lot of them I do it for the love, and a lot of them I do it with friends. And you'd be surprised how one thing can lead to another. And the cruise ships has been an interesting thing too. I started working on cruise ships purely because a friend of mine who was in a group called the Tenors of Rock, met them in London, friends from years ago, and then they were doing cruises around, but they couldn't supply ships with enough people to for the demand for Tenors of Rock to be in cruises, especially out of the ones coming out of the U.S., for the ones that are coming out of Alaska, for the Caribbean cruises, all these ships that are coming out of Miami, Florida, for example. They wanted to have a U.S.-based team, so I kind of helped them put the team together, not thinking that would be something that I wanted to do. But when I went on a cruise to be one of these Tenors of Rock, then this booker approached me on YouTube, and then he contacted me on Facebook and said, look, I think you should do your own solo show, but do you know Chinese? I said, no, I don't know how to speak Chinese. Would you be willing to learn? Great, because I'm booking acts who can do a Chinese English show out of Shanghai and out of Chinese. Would you be interested in doing it? Sure. 4 weeks later, I'm on a ship out of Shenzhen, doing Legend of the Seas, and I'm singing my own solo show. And I'm singing 6 songs in Mandarin, 4 songs in English, and I'm speaking 20 phrases in Mandarin to 99.9% mainland Chinese audiences. I'm like, how did I get here?
Wow.
I don't know. I don't know how this happens. So, yeah. 你好吗？我在美国，我在住澳大利亚，但我住在纽约，我才白来回主场。That's about it.
Wow.
That's about. No, I apologize to all the Chinese listeners out there. That was the worst Mandarin. I know. I'm practicing still. All right. But the fact that it's an opportunity to do that, this industry gets you a chance for you to always challenge yourself and always go beyond your comfort zone, and to be frightened a little bit. And it's nice to be frightened a little bit, because then you push yourself. and you'll be amazed what you can achieve when you just push yourself a little bit more than you thought was possible.
Do you think we all have an artist inside of us?
Yes, 100%. We are, as kids, we are natural born artists. We paint with our poo on the walls. we act. We all have these diaphragms. We cry diaphragmatically like opera singers. It's innate in us to actually be performers. As kids, we play. Like, our imagination is incredible as kids. Like, we role play. We are in the schoolyard and we want to play, rock cops and robbers. All these things we're role playing. We are incredible artists as kids. It's a socialization of constantly like being told, no, you don't have time for you to grow up. Time for you to grow up. I think that's, in a way. Okay, I'm going to be crucified for saying this, I know, but in a way, it's stifling your inner child is a form of child abuse, as far as I'm concerned, because it's stopping you from developing into your full capabilities. I think there is artistry, should be artistry in everything we do, whether you're an accountant, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a singer, or whether you're a bus driver. The way that you approach a job, if there's not some kind of flair or some kind of sense of like do it with pizzazz, then I don't think you're really giving yourself enough credit for who you are, what you can achieve. There's a little bit of artistry in everything. Like, you look at just for example, an example. Okay. I saw, for example, the other day I was catching a flight, and there was a woman. I think it was in Delta. Is that right? She was just calling up at the departure gate. She, instead of just saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, the plane's going to depart," and so and so, she decided to give this spiel about, ladies and gentlemen, you never guess it. She kind of told a story. It was like, and she was part rap, it was part song, it was part monologue. It was poetic. It was beautiful, and all that she was saying was like, "We're boarding in 5 minutes, starting with Group 1." That was the basis. But the way that she said it, she got an applause. Like, people I said, there you go. That is someone who comes to work saying, today I'm going to have a good day. And she slayed it. Like, that was an art form. Like, boom, mic drop.
Excellent. You gave lots of good advice about the business. Anything else that you may have left out? Any advice for future musical performers, singers, songwriters, musicians?
Well, one thing I always like to tell people is that don't be down if you're constantly being rejected. I know I kind of mentioned this a little bit, but my point here is that we are all very unique, and we all look different to each other, unless you're an identical twin, okay? But that's beside the point. But we all look different to each other. We all sound different to each other. We all have some slight quirkiness that makes that separates us from each other. That's what creates our own personal identity. And there will probably come one time when someone somewhere in some show is looking for someone with exactly you. They're looking for you. So you maybe go for another 100 different roles, and you might not get the role. That's probably because they're not looking for, Spanish, Filipino, Austrian, Chinese, Filipino-born Australian citizen, American resident. They're looking for, some 6'5" Scandinavian. That's, I'm never going to get the job. But that's the thing, like, you can't let that rejection get you down, because it's not you. It's them, literally. So you just have to have the faith in yourself and know that what you have is unique, and it's worth expressing all the things you have inside you. Everyone has a story to tell. Everyone is a movie in the making. You are an epic miniseries. You are a blockbuster, and it's time for you to write your book.
Talk about another mic drop, boys and girls.
Boom!
Hey. And where can people connect with you online to see your stuff? Obviously, you have the main website.
Yeah, you know what? Come and say hello. I've got a main website, which is www.mig-music.com, or for mig-music.com, however way you want to look at it. But I'm also on Instagram at MiG Ayesa. I've got Facebook at MiG Ayesa Official, I think.